have Jason Lenberg, who's our Director of Purchasing. So they're going to spend some time with you.
Hi, everybody. Jason Lenberg, Director of Purchasing here at IFD. I usually don't let people like me talk in public settings. So obviously, with that being said, we've got some pretty crazy things happening in our world if they're opening up to the public like this. So just wanted to let everybody know, I don't know how much everybody knows, how much you've been in touch, how many of the emails you guys have been reading, but now is not a very good time in our industry. We're battling with quite a few different things that include labor shortages on our manufacturer side of things, raw material shortages, packaging shortages, and transportation is extremely difficult. There's a shortage of drivers and everything is just delayed. So what does this lead to? It leads to we are getting shorted thousands of cases of product per day, and I'll get into more detail on that later. It's leading to product allocations. A lot of our vendors and suppliers are only allocating a certain amount of products to us, a certain amount of cases. It's leading to SKU rationalization, meaning many of our suppliers are cutting back on the amount of products they are currently offering. So if they offered 80 pizzas, they might only be offering 20 pizzas or even less right now. And it's also leading to longer lead times and delays. So as far as the shortages go, I just mentioned that we're getting shorted thousands of cases per day, and that's not an exaggeration. So some examples this week are from McCain. I know you guys are all familiar with McCain and potatoes and tater tots and sweet potato fries and all that other stuff. So this week we ordered a truckload of potatoes from McCain, 1,570 cases. We restored 971 of those cases. We received 599 for a percentage of 38.15% of what we ordered. So not very good. Heinz is in the same boat. We ordered a truckload from them, 1,685 cases. We received 632. We restored over 1,000 cases for a percentage of 37.5%. Foster Farms, you guys are familiar with them, and I'll stop after this one, but we ordered 1,850 cases. We restored 652 for a percentage of 64.75%. So I can go on and on and on with these examples. Every day, it's somebody new that joins the parade and the party of product that they don't have. Some examples are Diamond Crystal, Michael's, Cargill Sunny Fresh, Ventura, Otis, Frito-Lay, Spears, Barrel of Fun. Barrel of Fun is actually down to 9 different items that they're producing because of their labor. Integrated, Breakbush, Tyson, Pilgrims, ProView, Conagra, Dole, J&J Snacks, Land O'Lakes, Riches, Welch's, Apple and Eve. Produce people are having a hard time keeping up, Smithfield, Jones. So, there's not a magic vaccine for anybody to be immune from this. Everyone is hit hard by labor shortages, is hit hard by the increase in demand, not only from food service, but also from retail. Our job, I've been doing this for 19 years and I've never seen anything like this. We lived through the bird flu together. We lived through shortages. We lived through weather delays. We lived through transportation delays, but there's nothing like this. In regards to allocations, we're only getting a certain percentage of our past purchases. And sometimes in the fact when they tell us we're going to get 20% of what we ordered, we're not even getting that. When you see an allocation come out, if we're letting you guys know about that, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're getting that complete allocation that they tell us about. Smucker's Frozen is one of them on the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We're down, we need 1,200 cases a month of the grape to service our needs. We're getting 255. So that means we had to go out and find another supplier if there's one available. SKU rationalization, what they do there is that they're focusing on certain categories or product segments that they can fulfill. So they might have 80 pizzas and they might be producing 15 of them for you guys. We don't see that necessarily as a bad thing because at least they can make those 20 and service us with those 20 different products. But a lot of times they're not even coming through with those. So the world is certainly a mess. And we're not getting communicated to many times until after the product is shorted. So we'll order those 1,570 cases from McCain, and we'll have no clue in the world that we're going to get shorted those. We spent a lot of our summer communicating with suppliers because we knew this was going to be an issue. We gave them forecasts. One example is Michael Foods. All summer long, our buyer Blake was in touch with them and said, "Hey, how are you guys doing? Are you guys going to be shorting anything? Should we start buying stuff now? What do we need to do?" And they said, "We're fine, we're fine, we're fine, we're fine." And the truck shows up from half of what we ordered on it. And now all of a sudden they're in allocations. So those are the things that we're dealing with. We were proactive with a lot of vendors. We tried to be proactive with others, and some respects it worked, and other respects it didn't work. Lead times. Lead times have been impacted by the pandemic in a big way. Before the pandemic, a lot of suppliers were making product on forecast, making product on our past usage. Now they're not doing any of that anymore. A lot of times they're making things to order. So in many respects, we would have a 2-week lead time. That's gone to 4 weeks. So that's 4 weeks from the day we order it to the day it's ready to ship, and then there's transportation time. Many of our vendors, we can't add on anything. So as soon as we order, they have a 10 a.m. deadline on Tuesday. Once we place that order, their system's locked and we can't add anything onto it, which has changed from years past, which makes it really important for us to get as best the usage we can get. Menu changes, don't plan for next month. If you're going to plan a menu change, plan for 2, 3, 4 months out. That's the type of notice that everybody needs when it comes down to this stuff. Vendors don't have the product sitting around anymore like they used to. For the labor reasons, the allocations, packaging. We had one supplier, Ventura Foods. They didn't have modified food starch to make white goods, salad dressing, plain salad dressing, and mayonnaise. We had another supplier that had the modified food starch, but didn't have the 401-gallon containers. Ventura had the 401-gallon containers. We put those two up so they could at least produce something together and make products. So, our jobs have turned into being proactive and negotiating and working with lead times into literally begging for product. We spend a good majority of every day convincing suppliers that we want to spend our money with to ship us product. It's just, it's turned into a crazy, crazy world. I don't have any other way to explain it. So you are going to get shorted product. You're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get all the communication you need because we're not getting that from our suppliers. The food service world, manufacturing world, transportation world are a mess right now. I wish I had better news. Imports are another thing that are impacted. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the news stories or articles. Obviously, the domestic fruit supply cannot keep up with the amount of canned fruits that we need, so we rely on imports. Imports are taking anywhere from 10 to 15 weeks once they leave the port in China or Indonesia or wherever it is to get to the United States. A few weeks ago, there were 33 ships sitting at anchor in the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach. A bad day is usually 1 or 2. So there's a backlog. And not only with the backlog, there's also increased costs. A container is costing our suppliers to get from China or wherever it is to here over $20,000. And when you can fit 900 to 1,000 cases of product on a container, you see what that does. So you're going to see some pretty hefty price increases when it comes to imported canned goods. And then there's the expense of getting it from the port to Eau Claire, which has gone up immensely as well. So with all this being said, you guys are probably like, well, that's great. What are you guys doing for us? Well, we work with our suppliers over the summer, give them usages, we forecasted, and in some respects it's worked real well. Other respects it hasn't worked at all. We talked to them about new usages so they can work on their supply and work on their raw material. In other cases, we brought in alternative suppliers. Classic Delight we brought in to replace Smuckers. We found new tortilla suppliers, we found new juice suppliers. I can go on and on and on. So we're not just sitting back and letting this happen. We're doing our best to find alternatives when we can. But in a lot of respects, vendors that we don't do business with are not taking on new customers. They are struggling with the same exact thing. They don't have the capacity, they don't have the personnel, they don't have the raw material to take on new suppliers. We're not taking it laying down. We're having some very rough conversations, putting their feet to the fire. We fired some vendors because of this, because they can't come through for us, and we've had to move on. So trust me, when it looks like we may be having problems and when we're not doing what it is for you guys, we're working our butts off for you. There's 10 people in purchasing. We've got over 150 years of experience. We've got a lot of relationships that we're using. We've got a lot of experience that we're using to try and get you guys as much product as possibly can. So with that being said, I wish I had better news. I wish I could paint a rosier picture for you guys, but I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you guys are going to experience it as we start shipping product out to you.